love and class collide, Sumptuous Sunday Night TV returns with a new 4-part adaptation of How.ards and Forster's tale of romance across the social divide. The setting is as splendid as you'd expect for the BBC's latest costume drama. Just outside the stunning stately home in the grounds of the picturesque, 5,000-acre West Wycombe Estate in the Chiltern Hills, there's a marquee overlooking the lake. Inside, it has beautifully decorated with intricate winding flowers flowing from ornate Edwardian vases, and the table is laden with vintage crystal champagne glasses, along with decorative platters of fruit and cakes baked to the recipes of Victorian cook Mrs Beeton. The table, and indeed the stage, is set for one of the most pivotal and dramatic scenes in the new adaptation of Forster's novel How.ards and the wedding of rich businessman's daughter Evie Wilcox to Percy Cahill at her family's country estate, on Iton. By the end of the reception, however, the three very different families the story centers on will have collided to disastrous effect. And as the millions who've read Forster's book or wallowed in the glorious 1992 Merchant Ivory film will know, what follows is destitution, tragedy, manslaughter and incarceration. Despite Forster's book being 107 years old, the themes still feel uncannily modern. The story revolves around three families in England at the beginning of the 20th century: the Wilcoxes, rich capitalists with a fortune made in the colonies, the half-German Schlegel siblings Margaret, Helen and younger brother Tibby, Bohemian intellectuals who have much in common with a real-life Bloomsbury group, and the Basts, an impoverished young couple from a lower-class background. How.ards and Mrs Wilcox's beloved ancestral home, albeit a pile far less grand than on Iton, is almost a character in its own right too, becoming integral to the complex relationships between these three very different strata of society. Meet the three very different families whose worlds clash in How.ards and the intellectuals. Margaret Schlegel, Hayley Atwell. Clever, witty and interested in those around her, she realizes that if we love people we have to see their faults too, leading her to make choices that appall her sister Helen. Tibby Schlegel, Alex Lawther. The quiet younger brother, he looks upon the antics of his sisters with amused detachment. He is the opposite of the Wilcox men, being studious and rather introspective. Helen Schlegel, Philippa Coulthard. Impetuous, rebellious and terribly dramatic, she often acts before she thinks, but it's all very heartfelt. She is much less grounded than her sister. Aunt Julie, Tracy Ullman. She tries desperately to keep the sisters on the straight and narrow, and there is a real affection between this battle-axe aunt and her nieces and nephew. The rich capitalists. Henry Wilcox, Matthew McFadden. Egotistical and supremely confident, he does not always understand the world of feelings, which is why he needs a loving wife. Paul Wilcox, Jonah Howard King. The middle Wilcox child, he has a brief affair with Helen Schlegel but quickly realizes the romance is impossible as his father wants him to look after his affairs abroad. Ruth Wilcox, Julia Ormond. Henry's wife, she has an instant connection with the Schlegels who recognize in her a kindred spirit even if she doesn't comprehend their intellectual chatter. Evie Wilcox, Bessie Carter. A rather selfish, self-centered young lady who has very little tolerance for the Schlegels' world. Her focus is on maintaining her comfortable lifestyle. Charles Wilcox, Joe Bannister. Arrogant and blustering, the bullying eldest Wilcox son has neither his father's intelligence nor his mother's emotional maturity. He doesn't think highly of the Schlegel sisters either. The down at heel. Leonard Bast, Joseph Quinn. A romantic insurance clerk who would love to live the life of an intellectual thinker, but unlike the Schlegels he needs to work for a living. Jackie Bast, Rosalind Elazar. A fallen woman, she's been saved by Leonard from destitution but her constant demands for reassurance leave him resenting her. And this new 4-part adaptation shows just how timeless, and at times brutal, the tale is. Our series has been written to be deliberately not too earnest. In some ways it doesn't feel like a period drama at all, says Hayley Atwell, who plays the central character of Margaret Schlegel in the drama, which has been adapted by American Kenneth Lonergan, who won a BAFTA earlier this year for his film Manchester by the Sea. We were all told not to watch the Merchant Ivory film because this was going to be very different. Despite the constrictions of the costumes and the period, we did feel we wanted to make it accessible to modern audiences by not making it feel mannered. Even Emma Thompson, who played Margaret in the 1992 film, told Haley, who played Emma's character's daughter in the 2008 film,